everyone, thank you for joining us in this edition of The Inside on Equinoxe Television. I am Babla Jonathan. In this edition of the program, we're going to be talking about what is today known as a big scandal and the peak of the attack on freedom of expression and press freedom in particular in the Republic of Cameroon, the killing of a journalist. Martinez Zogo, station manager of Amplitude FM radio in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. He was abducted and his mortal remains later found on the outskirts of the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And also in this edition of the program, we'll take a look at the ping-pong between Cameroon and Canada over the peace process as far as the more than 6-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon is concerned. Canada is saying yes, it is ready to play the role of mediator in the quest for peace in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, hit by socio-political and security tensions for more than 6 years today. But the government of Cameroon says no to international mediation. Who is afraid of international mediation to solve the Anglophone conflict? This is the question on the front page of the Post-Weekend, and we're going to be looking at this in this edition of The Inside. Meet our guest in some few seconds. Thank you for staying with us. Our first guest today, NJANG DENIS TABE. He is a politician, national president of the Popular Action Party, the PAP. Mr. President, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila. Greetings to all the millions of viewers of Equinoxe. Special greetings to our wonderful technicians and greetings to my fellow panelists. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm always honored whenever I am given an opportunity to come and share my own view on the realities of the nation, and we can see how through the moments we are going to spend here to see how we could satisfy Cameroonians and give the best that we could give to make sure that our country gets back to its feet, and for us as Cameroonians, we see how we could sharpen the future and work together for a better Cameroon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our second guest today is GODFRED. He is also a politician, member of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. Babila. It's a great joy for me to be here this evening, and I think that's my first time to be part of this program. I'm very happy to be here, and I believe that all what we are going to debate with our panelists will be something that will come to enrich and make our country to be more and more prosperous.
Thank you very much. We're supposed to have two journalists on set with us in this edition of The Inside, but for some reasons beyond my control, they're not here. However, we will continue with the program, this special edition of The Inside, focusing mainly on what is today described as a big scandal, the peak of the attack on freedom of expression and the freedom of the press in particular, the killing of Martinez Zogo, journalist, station manager of Amplitude FM radio. Mr. President, what's your analysis of this tragic incident on the press landscape in Cameroon?
Well, it is really, really sad. You can see I am in black mourning. It will be a surprise to you that Martinez Zogo is my neighbor. He lives in the same neighborhood with me. I mean, not very close, not very far from my house. So there at Fujiro. So apart from being a journalist, he's also my neighbor. So it is really a sad moment for us, those who live around the neighborhood, because he's someone that I know personally. I have been following his program. I'm also a fan to his program. So it is really a sad moment, and we, considering the tragic nature in which he was killed, brutally assassinated it is something that we wouldn't wish that such a manner or such an action or behavior perpetrated by whosoever, some individuals, should really reign in our country, especially when there is that, as you said, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and we know the law is clear. If you feel that someone has written an article or carried out any information that you feel it is not the right information, there is two means that you can use. Either you call for a repost of it, either you write a repost, or you ask for the disclaimer, or there is a judicial procedure that is being followed for the person to come and clear if there is an act of defamation. But going behind and carrying such a barbaric act against an individual where it's not really called for, I think whosoever is involved in such an act, I think should be really be brought to justice by all means, so that the perpetrators of such act should not continue pendling around and seeing for the next victim. I think before even Martinez Zogo, we have had issues of many journalists who have been victims of torture, victims of death that we cannot really account for, assassination and all the like. I think before now we had the case of Samuel Wazizi, who was accused, or I cannot say accused because till date where he was arrested, locked up in an unknown detention camp. He was never given a chance to explain himself. He was never,
and it was only after a year
that we,
thanks to
Equinoxe, that we realized that he was killed. I mean, I don't know whether assassinated, he was murdered, and till date the family
still waiting for the cops. Now, Martinez Zogo was running a program known as Embouteillage,
yes.
A program in which ills of the society were unveiled, notably corrupt practices, embezzlement and all other things. A highly critical program, and they are accusing fingers pointing to some persons who are allegedly involved in some corrupt scandals, some corruption scandals.
Yeah. Well, for now, as you said, there are still some individuals who are being accused. I think for those who are pointing, accusing fingers on certain individuals, I think they have enough reasons why they feel that those individuals are behind such an act. But me as an individual who I believe so much in proof and so on, I will keep my fingers crossed while waiting for the real there's what we call as investigation. It is true that with the nature of our manner in which investigations are being carried out, there's no credibility again in with our security forces, because we have many cases of barbaric acts perpetrated on individuals that led, people die. People are killed in a very unpleasant manner. I can remember the case of his lordship, Joseph, is it Bala? I think Bishop Bala, we saw the way he was killed and the way the corpse was being manhandled before he was killed. The way the corpse was being manhandled, from what we saw, it was really nothing to be. It was really terrible. So before I want to say something concerning that, I think Martinez Zogo has been very critical. It is true that I have not been we don't share certain opinions, because at the end of the day, most at times he defends the regime, he defends the president, and at times he castigates those around the president. So with that, there are some moments where I don't really buy what Martinez Zogo usually say, because I cannot be attacking someone's creatures and then I try to vindicate the creator. So at times I don't really see into that. But after everything, I think Martinez Zogo has really come to the limelight to let even the common man understand how things function, because every day from 10 to 12 you get to almost all the taxi, the bikes, everybody is focused on that program. So you can see the magnitude in which he has impacted the lives of so many people. So even the common man, even the buyer and seller, he has identified himself with everybody as far as information is concerned.
And before he was killed, he was working on some corruption.
Yes, corruption. I followed
around the
line. I followed everything, and the individuals, Mr. Babila, the individuals that Martinez Zogo has been very, very critical. Those individuals that he has been very, very critical on them for accusing them of embezzlement.
The leaders of your political party, especially those who are in power, including the head of state, have been saying that Cameroon is a democratic nation, is a law-abiding nation. And now the question is, should a journalist be killed in a democratic country? Should a journalist be killed in a law-abiding nation?
You know, that's, my heart is so heavy. You see what happened to Martinez Zogo. I think is something that nobody can allow to happen in a country, in a democratic country like Cameroon. And I think all what we can wish, we wish the family, that we can only wish the family to stay blessed, and may the soul of Martinez Zogo rest in perfect peace. For that said, I think democracy in Cameroon is not something to demonstrate today. And one of the key elements of the democracy in Cameroon is the freedom of speech. And today you cannot deny the fact, because if Equinoxe can exist today, is because of that freedom of speech. And one of the elements the head of state always buy on, he used to say, I will be the one who brought the democracy in Cameroon. And today we can see the effectiveness of the democracy with the freedom of speech. And I said the crime that was committed, the killing of Martinez Zogo, is like a slap. It's a big slap in the Cameroon democracy. And I think that those who attempt to do such a thing, because I think the criminal act was not, the way I read it, the criminal act was not just done for the individual, but it's a crime even against the democracy in Cameroon. Because when you look at the way he was killed just because of his opinions, I think it's the bad way of seeing things. I think we have instances, we have a court, and we have laws that stipulate that if when somebody goes against the law, maybe through defamation or through what is not fair from you, you are free. You are free to take him into court, and only the court will judge and know if what he says was the right one, and from there he can be condemned. You know, we condemn the crime that was this crime against Martinez Zogo to the last energy, because if you see even His Excellency President Paul Biya, if he was that of person that every day he is insulted openly in all the medias, and if he was that at any moment those type of things,
except Equinoxe. We don't insult people here.
Well, you will talk about Equinoxe, and I think that maybe when they talk about media, it's not the media, but when you have your panelists, sometimes
social media.
You have not social media. When sometimes you have your media and your invitees, as sometimes they go across what was supposed to be said and say things that may hurt some people, I think those are things that are not fair. But I would say that
that's why I said we don't allow such things, especially insults. We don't allow that here for anybody, not only the head of state.
Maybe only the public that are seeing us can testify if those type of things have never been seen in this platform.
No, I said and we for don't that reason, here.
And for that reason, I said nobody have been frightened because of his own opinion on any type of topic that comes up. And Cameroonians have been expressing themselves in many topics, and you see they called some names of some dignities and personalities in the Republic, saying things. And you know, at certain moment, it is even like some
the case of Martinez Zogo in particular, he called those names, including some government bigwigs, revealing corrupt practices, revealing embezzlement, swindling of government money. And coming back to the issue of democracy, the national president of your party, who is the head of state, says he wants to be remembered like the one who brought democracy to Cameroon. When this happens at this point in time, after 40 years of reign, a journalist is killed for speaking out, for revealing corrupt practices. How do you explain that?
Yes, I think he's not the only one who have been so vocal on topics that concern our country. And when something like this one happened, I think the head of state have instructed that's a finding, and they have to look for what really happened and who is the commanditors of those crimes. You know, it is not something that was done that's in the open air. It is not something that was done where the people were like they did it without hiding. So all of us discover what happened, and today we are just to find out exactly who did that, and I think those people who did that are going to be punished. You know, you are a journalist. When you are speaking here, there are millions of people who are seeing you, and you don't know who is your friend and who is against you. And sometimes we may fall in this temptation. People are killed every day.
Cameroon is a leading jailer of journalists, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists in Sub-Saharan Africa. As we speak now, their last ranking shows that Cameroon is a leading jailer of journalists.
No, I think
even on the global scale.
I think, Mr. Babila, as a journalist, you were the people who were at least to contradict what is said by others, because you are a big journalist,
but their ranking is based on facts. There are several journalists who are still in detention till today.
No, you have to, you should not confuse.
The ranking is based on facts on the ground.
And I think you have to go and question why they are where they are. It simply means a procedure have been engaged against them, and at the end of the day, they were found guilty of something. And if they are there, I think nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. And no. even in the journalistic profession, you people know what you have to do and what you don't have to do. What we condemn here is the killing, because assassinating somebody because of his opinion is not what is stipulated in Cameroon laws.
Right. Back on the killing, on what happened exactly on that day Martinez Zogo was killed, or he was abducted. He was picked up unidentified individuals who are already being identified. We have the information at our disposal says that he went to a gendarmerie brigade. He ran to a gendarmerie brigade to seek for security, to seek for protection, but the doors were closed. The doors were not open for him to go in, and that is how his attackers took him away.
Yes, Mr. Babila, you see, I always see things from the root. I don't look at things from the top. The judicial system, I think I want to remember one of our powerful member of parliament, Honorable Weber. He said it in parliament. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. When Justice Ayapol, a high-profile sitting magistrate at the Supreme Court, still at service, was picked up like a common man, detained for 8 months with no charges, released. That's when I said bye-bye to our judicial system. What makes a country respected? It is the force of its judiciary. It is the respect of the rule of law. Once that is banished by the same people who are supposed to incarnate those institutions that guarantee that law that needs to be implemented, it turns that country to become more like a jungle. All what we are facing today is as a result, the consequences of a state. At times, some people, there is one of my friends who is a colleague called if you always say a kangaroo government, a banana republic. I'm sorry to say so, because we are talking about Martinez Zogo today. We can start listing you series of cases of unlawful, unjust manner of approach. At times, people are even arrested and kept incommunicado, where the law does not say like that. No access to lawyer. Nobody respects anything. Go and look at people who are still being jailed in line with this Anglophone crisis. Right till date, there are others who are there for close to 4 years, 5 years. They have never been hurt. I mean, never been hurt. Is that when those are series of? We don't just look at things at the top. When things are being just banalized in certain manners, it gives room for people to just say, do things the way they are. It suffices for you to present yourself for a little charges against you, and you just go there. Before you know, if you are not strong enough, before you know, you are already in the prison for no just cause. So the killings today, the wanton killings and the insecurity looming around the country today, where nobody is safe, it's because those who incarnate. You talk today about the President Paul Biya, who gave democracy, he gave freedom of speech, who does this and so forth and so forth and so forth. Do you think President Paul Biya is not aware of all this cacophony in the government? Do you think he is blind with the manner in which the judicial system is moving? There are many people today. We know of many people who have been placed charges. Charges are hanging on them, but they still benefit the coverage of the head of state. Is he not aware? So there are some things that you cannot tell me that a country, right from the cases of like Bishop Bala, Wazizi, and all the like, where a head of state comes out and takes his hand and carry out measures for things like the not to repeat itself, but he is silent. You know about Bishop Bala, the manner in which he was killed, the way he was caught, the cops, people, international media, opinion holders, everybody came out, said the head of state remained silent as if nothing happened. In other countries, the president who incarnates the institutions, who guarantees the security of, you don't tell me that I should be counting on minister this. No, the person that guarantees the security, he is the one that swore to Cameroonians that is going to give them, guarantee their security, abide by the constitution, and make sure that it is implemented. Where is he?
And those in charge of guaranteeing that security, ensuring that security, we have the forces of law and order. He's the one that is. But when somebody runs to the forces of law and order and is not protected,
we are now talking about what? These are the consequences of a republic where we don't even have a leader. That's why everybody now takes the law into his hands. That is why I'm talking. Today, it is impossible that somebody will be running. Now, maybe he received instructions somewhere. So when you have series of cases of laissez-faire, cases where in other countries they don't take it for granted, in Cameroon it is very normal. And there is someone that incarnate who is to hit somewhere right till date. We are talking here of Samuel Wazizi. They have said an enquete, despite everything that people have said. there are people that are pointed fingers. At least there's always what we call people who are summoned, even for questioning. Till date, we don't have any. We don't even. You cannot tell me that in Yaoundé, I know where that brigade is, close to my house. In Yaoundé, because Martinez Zogo lives at Fujiro, around Kachebi, you call it Bidunpa, not far from me. You cannot tell me that in Yaoundé we have surveillance camera. It was an opposition that made an attempt to match, just an attempt. You will see, information will just lead that. That way you will see all the forces, they will come and flex their muscles to arrest an opposition leader locked up. But this is a case that there are surveillance cameras. Martinez Zogo, his car is still at the gendarmerie. You mean they have not carried out exploitation? His phone was in that car. He was killed without his phone. The phone is there. They have carried out some exploitation. Do you think even a single suspect cannot be traced? The car that was used by Martinez Zogo, there's an activist. I'm not saying that I believe in what that activist is saying concerning some revelation that the activist is saying, but at least there must be some elements of truth that activist is perpetrating. Can they listen to it? Because I know that we have. The irony is that Mr. Babi,
the activist said the car was rented from Douala.
He gave some facts.
Was rented in Douala.
From there, the police will say, but this guy probably has some elements, and he's very, very convinced in his analysis. Can't we even try to see how we can? Nothing. Everybody is silent. And let me tell you, in Africa, Cameroon is one of the first. The first 5 countries when it comes to intelligence. When it comes to surveillance, military intelligence, and when it comes to infrastructure security, Cameroon has all what it takes to track down whatever. Because they have, when these are characteristics of all dictators, they don't play with their security. But if this thing occurred in one suburb, in one hinterland, I would have in Yaoundé. Yaoundé is a capital city where we have everything. So do you mean those surveillance cameras were kept only for opposition party leaders or political people who don't share the same opinion, to monitor them if they want to carry out a march? A crime was committed. And the irony is that the Martinez Zogo, that is also a message to all those, like my brother here, Mr. GODFRED, that be careful of the way you claim you protect the head of state, because Martinez Zogo was a singer of Paul Biya. He could praise the head of state from morning to night. Where is Masanganyam, who has been praising the head of state? So at times it's so ridiculous when people still come and still be calling the head of state President Paul Biya. Martinez Zogo was singing that same song. But today, where is Paul Biya to protect Martinez Zogo? Where is Paul Biya to protect Professor Masanganyam? Where is Paul Biya to protect so many who claim he has incarnated? So I think we cannot be there to keep on attacking the branches and we leave the stem and the root, because the real person that incarnate, those guys are his creatures. They are the one that he created them. And right. If there is anything the head of state is the principal cause of any cacophony that is the insecurity that reigns in our country today. Is the principal cause, because you need to anticipate. When it happens, you take actions. I think the others will say, hey, this is not, has he convoked normally a crime like that, the head of state take into himself. There's nothing like you, has he convoked normally, Bangangele, wait, let me call you. There are things that are done normally. In cases like this, is it the Minister of Communication that's even supposed to come out and make that outing? Where is the law is clear? But it's the Procureur de la République, the state Minister de la République, who is supposed to come out and inform Cameroonians on day-to-day how the event is unfolding, because it has become more an international issue. Secondly, the area where the killing took place there at Soa, at least you would have even seen some elements of that investigation is ongoing, because it was supposed to be sealed for nobody to no trespass. That's how it is done in almost all nations that we know when security matters are concerned. That area was supposed to be sealed and make sure that the police people are there, so that at least from there they can even pick out some aspects of suspect. But the day the cause was discovered, it was like a marketplace. People were just going around. No, you see, it was like something. Some people, the same people that we are even thinking that our life, our security is in their hands. I'm tempted to believe that we are no longer safe. Because I'm just answering your question, we are no longer safe. So I don't want to use that a brigade and Guso there, that brigade at Fujiro there, as a scapegoat for the demise of Martinez Zogo. It is a systematic system that a situation that has been put in place where criminals are still in high government. People are crying. Bibin Gota, we all know who is behind the killing of Bibin Gota. It was not in news. We all know how Piyun Jawe died in France. It was no longer news. We know who those who were behind. People came out with facts. Investigation closed till date. Monsignor Bala till date. Where is the investigation? Where are the results? The guy Samuel Wazizi till date. Can we tell me where the investigation has gone through? And they come and tell me that there is a head of state who has given democracy and so forth and so forth.
However, the authorities have said that investigations are on track.
As usual.
And we are waiting for
I have my own facts. If you come, I will tell them.
We are waiting for results of that investigation.
Yes. It has always been results waiting.
What is happening with government's reaction to such a terrible incident? I remember I took some time for the Minister of Communication to speak out. The Attorney General has never spoken. The President of the Republic has been silent. And it gives the impression that it's not taken very seriously by the government authorities.
I think no Cameroonian is supposed to be missing, not even say losing his life. And I think Martinez Zogo was a Cameroonian, and the crime was condemned by everybody up to the hierarchy. And I think, please, you allow me, please, please, if you want that we should play that ping pong, I think we are going to do it because you speak here and you say things I said nothing.
Go ahead.
Yes, and I even asked myself if and I think you are the president of a party, and you I think you project to become the president of the country one day. If it happen, yes. I think the way you speak, the way you speak, you will become the judicial system, executive system, and legislative system.
Why?
That is the type of, because the way you speak, I understand the type of the country you will make to be the president tomorrow.
According to some civil society leaders and politicians of the opposition like NJANG DENIS, the reaction of the government has not been commensurate to the problem, has not been equal to the degree of the problem. A journalist killed in that brutal manner.
I think you have to know that we are in a legal country, and powers are separated. You have the judicial, you have the legislative and the executive. And this case is the case that the system that is engaged in this case is the judicial system. And you will not be like giving them instruction on what they know how to do. So, because we said investigations are going on. And it is not individual, not even a TV station or journalists to give instruction to professionals who know what they are doing and what they have always done.
They know what they are doing and what they have always done. But public opinion thinks that what they are doing is not equal to the problem.
No,
the way they have handled it. We have seen the Minister of Communication in amplitude.
Mr. Babila, I want to tell you something. A country is not governed by the public opinion. The public will always have something to say. It is not like the government have deaf ear. They will always speak in what the public is saying. What is good? Because today, it is like the way people believe on social media, or what is said there is what people call social public opinion. Like he was saying here, when you see the way he sees the thing, it is just like when something happened like that one, everybody can get to the field and become an investigator and all the rest. We are in a country where we have rules and regulations that govern the country. And when there is something like this one, they are specialists. There is a system put in place to follow up those type of cases. And it is not our opinion, it is not what we say that will change what they're supposed to do, because they know what they are doing, and they are doing what is right.
Professor,
and I think at the end of the day, the results will come out, and everybody will be satisfied.
The national president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, Professor Maurice Kamto, reacting to the killing of Martinez Zogo, said Cameroonians are in total insecurity, considering the fact that he ran to a gendarmerie brigade and was not protected, was not given the help he needed at that very crucial moment. Can we say that we are safe in this country?
No, wait. When you take the opinion of Professor Maurice Kamto, to take to like Cameroon opinion, Cameroonians' opinion.
Kabangwala is the national president of the Cameroon People's Party, the CPP, said the same thing, that this is an issue that concerns all Cameroonians.
No, we are talking here about the freedom. We are talking here about the freedom of speech, and they are free to say what they can say. They are free to say what they can say, and I think they are Cameroonians. They are living in Cameroon.
And when somebody says what he wants to say and is killed,
no, those people who have been saying, you just cite Professor, no, you just cite Professor Maurice Kamto and Kawalai. Were they killed? They said their opinion. But it's one case
out of many.
It's one case, and today investigations are going on to see exactly, and that is a crime that was condemned by all the Cameroonians. And even, I think, nobody here will caution the fact that somebody should lose his life because he expressed himself. And Cameroonians have been saying things. I was just, I may not say I was shocked, but I can understand you, because if it is not Equinoxe, if you go to newspaper and you see what is said, what is written on people, that's today you discover that newspapers, as other medias, have become judges. They can judge and condemn, but nothing have been done to everybody, to anybody. And you see that they are exercising their profession very freely, and nothing, no fear have been put on them.
A journalist,
but if there is a case like this one,
is not
if there is a case like this one, all of us, we condemn it, and we think that investigations are going on, and at the end of the day, we are going to see who are those people responsible of this kind of act. And as I just said in the beginning, it is a slap on Cameroon democracy, because we are in a country where everywhere you can meet a newspaper, you can see a journalist, and all of them are exercising very freely, nothing disturbing them. So a case like this one is a case that shocked everybody, and I think when people are today want to turn to be judges and everybody, I said, it's another way of exercising their freedom.
Well, let me just put
the
this
president
straight.
of PAP
A journalist is not a judge. A journalist is not a judge. A journalist does his job of reporting information, of educating the people. A journalist is not a judge. Now, talking about laws that are written and then what is practiced, there seems to be a very big gap in Cameroon, because you're talking about press freedom laws, you talked about the fact that everybody is protected, has the right to do this or that, to speak out. But is that what is done?
But I will take an example from you. You are a journalist. How many times have you been frightened for your opinion? Maybe you will tell me that what you said is not something that hurt somebody. But if they are journalists, who can do that?
The fact
but
that
they have been doing,
the fact
and
that
nobody, they have never been frightened.
Is killed. The fact that a colleague is arrested, a colleague is killed. We are all human beings.
No, Mr. Babila, no, don't. Let me tell you.
We cannot.
Let me tell you something. You are a journalist, right? You are a journalist, and you you are a journalist and you can do investigation. You cannot just come and sit here and you are like saying somebody have been killed. I think nobody, for now, there are investigation going on to see exactly what happened. But if you have some facts, if you know who killed Martinez Zogo and the person is free, you can, maybe through your investigation, you can help even those who are in the judicial procedure to know, to get some information.
There's an issue about this investigation. You, like many Cameroonians, don't believe in all this issue of investigations have been open and so on.
Yeah, I want to let Mr. GODFRED know that.
Why don't you believe in the investigation?
I will come, but let him make know that we are struggling to build a new nation. I just want to correct that fact, because the way I speak, I said we are struggling to build where institutions will be stronger than individuals. Cameroon is a victim of a situation where an individual or some individuals are stronger than the institution, and that is why we are talking about issues of wanton killings and insecurity that we have to do, because some individuals are stronger than institution. Nobody can say, you can't tell me that in which country, where even the country, I don't want to call names of certain country, but even the country that will feel they are not as strong as Cameroon, 7-9 days, the international media is on something. The international community has condemned. Almost all stakeholders, the national, everybody is talking about it in 9 days. Even a single suspect, I think in Cameroon, capital city, a single suspect, and you come here, you come and attack journalists for doing their job. If the judiciary, please don't interrupt me. Please don't interrupt me. Please don't interrupt.
It's not like coming to seek for elements.
I'm not saying that. I am saying that you come here and say everybody. Those who are in charge, have they done their job?
They are doing their job.
Which job?
They are doing their job. They are doing their job.
Can you tell me?
They are doing their job. Have you investigated to know that they are not doing their job?
Can you tell me a single investigation that for a crime, for a barbaric act that the whole world has spoken, or maybe the whole nation rose against, and the government says we are carrying out an investigation? Can you tell me one that the investigation we have had solutions or conclusion to, there are conclusions to that investigation? If you tell me one, then I'll say good. That if people fail to do their job, we are Cameroon. Cameroon is not Paul Biya's property. Cameroon is not CPDM property. It is me. It is the journalist. Everybody is touched by the events of the nation. If a journalist takes it himself to carry out an investigation, we are today paying the price of the nonchalance and the laxity of a head of state who cannot hit his hand. Today, we are not paying.
Please,
today, prices have increased because of high level of investment. He has been unable to anticipate. So now,
please, we can always make a point while avoiding to use insultive language.
No, we are not. I'm not being insulting, Mr. Babila. I am being critical about a situation. I am saying that when somebody
saying that the head of state is nonchalant
towards certain actions,
is not respectful towards a head of state.
When I said nonchalant, mean that nonchalant towards certain actions that have been perpetrated by his collaborators. If he would have been that head of state, that would have been very hard. President Paul Biya promised Cameroonians that the Operation Sparrowhawk, corrupt officials, he made that in 2021, end of year speech. We expected that the following year. People came out, journalists came out with proofs of high level of embezzlement of the stadium in Olembe, high level of embezzlement of COVID-19. Even the Supreme Court audit bench came out and indexed some close collaborators of the head of state, and even asked, well, they gave them someone till date who asked the someone to stop. It was still him. So when I use the word nonchalant, it's not an insult, please. I'm saying that the attitude towards it give them the opportunity to say, okay, nothing is being done, and even when they are arrested, you go and look at the lifestyle that they are living in Kundengi. The other ones will not even be frightened by anything. So we are just well nonchalant. Now coming back, when you talk of journalists, we give credit to, I think that was their investigation and all the like.
Right.
That is where the problem now lies. I can remember that what the journalist does, the journalist goes to bring out the hidden truth. No, the hidden from what the ordinary person.
The investigation of authorities.
That's why I'm saying that.
While investigating the case of Martinez Zogo.
The journalists, the judiciary those who are in charge of the investigation should be thankful for journalists who help them to facilitate the investigation. Should not, instead of you thanking the journalists, that's what I expected him. Thanking the journalists, all those journalists who have carried out investigation. Don't say that, thank you. But now it is late now for the judiciary to see what those journalists have outlined, if they are facts. Because the journalists can get into where maybe you and I, or even some investigative, those who matter, who the judiciary cannot go. The journalists, that's why they call them the fourth power. They have that capacity to go anywhere and bring out the facts and expose it. Now it is left for you now, those who are in charge of carrying out the investigation, who have been mandated by the institution to see how they can carry out, they penalize individuals. They can go ahead. I can remember.
Are they not doing their job?
In Equinoxe, to tell him they are not doing their job. They are not doing their job. If they are not doing their job. If they were doing their job,
is 9 days enough for all the investigation to be carried out?
They are not doing their job. They are not doing their job. If they were doing their job, I think many people. I'm one of the highest people that will always give respect to institutions, especially an institution like the judicial branch of the country, where if they do their job, there is a lot of laxity, and they have what is killing is that the executive. I am not saying that we have good magistrate. No, we have one of the best landed legal minds, be it at the judiciary, legal department, the best. But the system, it's what is destroying them. They have the intention to do it, but blockage, and who incarnates that system is the head of state. That's why I keep on attacking. To conclude, to tell my brother that Equinoxe journalists have been one of the highest, most victimized journalists when it comes to doing their job. I can cite you. This one is no longer news on their platform, but it is news. It's no longer something that we are hiding. Where is me for today? He left this country because of what? You saw what happened to him because he carried out an intensive investigation of what is happening in the northwest and the southwest. Where is Cedric Ndufele? You know what was awaiting Cedric Ndufele? The numerous attacks from even the minister that was not even under his domain, attacking him. Where is the other person? Search Allen. Yes, it's true. It's in the country, but we saw the cabal that was against Forensic. So when somebody comes here and tell me that journalists who have never been persecuted, wonderful. If Equinoxe never had the backing of the people,
gentlemen,
I don't think Equinoxe would have.
Let's go to the newsstands. We're going to see what the newspapers reported this week. Immaculate Fogwe with the press review.
The post-weekender questions who is afraid of peace talks to end conflict in Anglophone Cameroon. Municipal update cites religious leaders in Cameroon who reiterate the need for peace talks in restoring normalcy in the northwest and southwest regions. The Guardian Post in its editorial page urges President Paul Biya to consider Canadian mediation. In another edition, the Guardian Post thinks the rejection of Canada peace talks dampens hope for return of peace in the northwest and southwest regions. The Median says Yaoundé's Bafia dance on the Canadian peace talks for the northwest and southwest regions intrigues Canada, United States of America, Britain, the Pope, and others. Newswatch exclaims, "No mercy, government rejects Canadian mediation in Anglophone Cameroon." The Post, Canada process, Cameroon separatist leaders' agreement gives much-needed glimmer of hope. The Guardian Post mourns the sudden tragic exit of Gabriel Dondodoki. Until next week, this is Press Review.
Thank you, Immaculate Fogwe, for the press review. We are still with our guest, Full GODFRED, politician, member of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, and NJANG Denis TABE, national president of the Popular Action Party. I come to you. Mr. Full GODFRED, what do you think can be done to stop what is today considered as the peak of the attack on freedom of expression, and particularly press freedom? What can be done, or what should be done to stop such tragedy from happening again?
What to be done? It is at the both sides. I think the state is already there to protect the journalist, to permit him to do his job very freely. And that is why we have that law of 1990 based on the freedom. And you know, Cameroon is a democratic country, and freedom of speech is a human right and even guaranteed by the Cameroon Constitution before the law of 1990. And for that reason, we can see the proliferation of medias and newspapers in Cameroon. And when you go and read those newspapers, you will discover that people say their mind, they say their opinions without any fear. So now, because and when they do so, it is because we have laws that protect the journalists and permit them to exercise their profession without any problem. So now, if those laws are there, I think I would turn to the journalists also. You know, sometimes...
Before you turn to the journalists, the laws are there to protect the journalists. But the question is, are those laws being executed, being implemented by those? Because the laws on their own will not serve any purpose if they are not implemented and used to protect the journalists. We have Wazizi, who died in detention, and till today the family is still waiting for the cops. Njoka Kingsley is still in detention. He was picked up by an unknown uniformed men here in Bonaberi, and he's still in detention and now charged as a coordinator of the Boy Warriors and many other charges that have been leveled against him. We have Thomas Awa. We have many cases that are still on the table. Those laws actually protecting the journalists. Many who are threatened, they are not even speaking out, but there are many of them who are threatened.
No, you just cut short what I was saying. When the law is there to protect you, you have to know that you yourself, you have to protect yourself. Protecting yourself is not the fact to think that because there is a law that protecting me, that you will go on by defaming, because that is what, if you go through newspapers in Cameroon today, I was talking about investigation and all the rest. If you go through newspapers today, you will see what is said. You will see that sometimes there are some newspapers who are like in charge to defame, to tarnish the image of others. And from that reason, we will start asking ourselves, are they doing their job? Meanwhile, we have a penal code who said nobody should defame. And when you do that, just know that you are against the law. And when you go against the law, knowing fully that what you are doing is against the law, you have to bear the responsibility. And we know this said, nobody is above the law.
I'm pretty sure you are aware that just like in every profession, there are quacks and impostors in the profession of journalism.
No, I think you join
and some
me.
of those quacks and impostors that you're talking about there, with what they are writing, they are backed by some of your comrades who are in government.
You know,
some of the newspapers which you're talking about are
created
created by some of your comrades.
Those
and they are being used as political tools.
No, you know what,
and tarnish people, and then the profession.
What you say, those are declarations that only you can justify.
They are facts.
I don't believe. No, those are comments.
They are facts.
They are facts. But if you see a newspaper that was written against somebody, or is a message in a newspaper that is written against somebody, and you think that because the newspaper is still there, the person who wrote it is protected by that. That's why I say those are a mere speech.
They're not mere speech.
No, they are mere speech because they don't have. You are talking facts. But you cannot.
I know what I'm talking about.
No, you know what you. If you can bring a proof,
I know what I'm talking about.
If you can bring a proof of a newspaper that is defaming, and the person is outside there because the person is protected by an authority, that's where we will say we are talking about facts. That is why I told you you can investigate. You are a journalist. You can investigate.
That is what we have been doing.
Yes, if you people have been doing, you can bring up some facts.
I am giving you now the facts.
Yes, those are the facts. When you facts are not said. Facts are what we
because
see. If you can bring out a newspaper
mixing up quacks and impostors.
No, you see,
on the same platform with professional journalists is like mixing Gary and salt. So
no, I understand you, and I think you are a journalist, and you are free to denounce those type of people who come to destroy the profession. And I think journalism, you know, information is one of the key elements for the functioning of the country. And we think that when a journalist is free to seek for information, I believe it can change the face of the nation. And now, in a country like Cameroon, you will find those type of journalists. And when sometimes they mix up by maybe hurting some people, reactions maybe sometimes what we don't even expect.
Whatever
and
it is,
and when
let me come to those reactions.
Yes.
Wrong professional practice. Is it a justification for a journalist, for anybody, to be killed?
No. If journalism can be considered as a corporate, that is a group of people who decided to be together to exercise something, you are the one to denounce those who are not respecting the rules and regulations that govern the sector. And from there, they can see. When you are talking, I keep on saying this.
What about the administration?
I keep on saying this.
What about the administration?
No,
and the
Mr. Babila,
authority
I keep on saying this.
That is supposed to regulate the system?
It is like you want to read something through my speech. I said you are a journalist. Yes, you have said Equinoxe have been reputed to be one of the major where they do investigation.
I'm not the one saying it. It is so.
It is so.
Known by everyone.
Yes, and we are talking about the loss of a journalist that we are condemning here. The death of Martinez Zogo is something that have been decried, and we are still crying the loss of that journalist because he was somebody at least who make things move. But today, when you are talking about it, you just take it as a joke. I said if Equinoxe,
it's not possible for it to be a joke.
No, if Equinoxe was investigating as you said, I'm very sure that
when you look at all
what
the
we
cases,
would have been doing here, we would have been commenting some little things that you would have find from what happened.
That's what I'm telling you.
You are telling me nothing. You are telling me nothing.
No,
what you are telling me is that a journalist was killed, and all of us were crying the loss of that journalist.
I just cited some cases here,
yes,
of journalists who were killed or arrested and are in detention, some in illegal detention, according to legal minds who master the law. When you look at all those cases, they are not impostors. They are not quacks. They are professional journalists. Martinez Zogo is a professional journalist.
But
he was a professional practitioner.
Let me tell you.
And he did his job.
Mr. Babila, let me tell you something.
Of the norms of the profession.
No, let me tell you something.
When professional journalists are targeted, attacked, killed, is there any reason to justify that?
Let me tell you something.
Is there any reason to justify that?
No. What you are asking me as questions.
Is there any reason to explain that?
Let me tell you something. Your questions are like, I don't know.
Is there any reason to explain that?
I'm not the field to come. I'm not the field where you investigate. But I want to tell you something, because you are like just taking things that you don't go into detail. You have a journalist. That's a person.
Yes.
The journalists have information, and now get into those information and see if all those information are right. If those information are not hurting somebody, that's where the problem comes. The problem is not the person who is the journalist. The problem is what the journalist said and what the journalist write.
And saying that somebody has stolen or embezzled money will certainly hurt the embezzler.
I think you.
All right,
I think I think maybe you have investigated, and you know somebody maybe who have been attacked by the journalists, and if through your investigation you know something, maybe you can declare and we'll comment. But what you are saying, you just turn around. I don't even understand what you are saying, but I want to tell you that you have to differentiate the journalist as a person and the information the journalist have.
Right.
And when the journalist diffuse an information, you have to look at the content. Are that information genuine, not to hurt somebody? And from that time, you will know who is the good journalist.
It is, of course, our slogan here: say nothing to hurt, hide nothing to hurt. So, Mr. President, what should be done at this point in time? Because Martinez Ogo is dead and gone. What should be done to ensure that this never happens again?
Yes, Mr. Babila, I will still go by my stand. I want to remind Mr. Godfrey here that there was one time a sister channel, I will not call the name here, came out with false allegation that the Aya Foundation is sponsoring or giving arms to the separatists in the forest. The Aya Foundation followed the normal procedure by taking that media house to follow the normal judicial procedure. What is it today? Till date, they keep on, even including the journalists that even came out with the report. And they claim they had proofs. The Aya Foundation followed it for defamation. The thing has just been thrown somewhere. When you go, they keep on. The owner of that said media house is never even present. Neither is the journalist. Of course, the journalist is just a victim because I believe he was also being influenced by the editorial policy. So I'm just coming back when I talk about what? Institutions. Our institution, I will still repeat, we have one of the best security people, personnel. We have one of the best judicial individuals, or judicial mind, legal minds, I can put it that way. The best in almost all the field. But when our institutions are so weak, it paralyzes the free flow of those who had the good intentions to work and give room now for that quacks. Because if you look at it, I'm happy when you use the word, the quacks, charlatans, are more celebrated and given opportunity to, they carry out terrible reports. At times, the National Communication Council slams some of those individuals and the media houses, but they operate. That is, they give a damn. I know of many journalists and some media houses that have been slammed, sanctioned by the National Communication Council, mean that they themselves have known that those journalists and the media houses are not in line with the ethics and deontology. But what happened? They operate with nothing. Nobody disturbs them. The journalists and their programs are still rebroadcast and broadcast on daily basis. And what happened? Because of what? The institutions are in the hands of certain individuals. And when you see,
so what should be done?
That's why I still come. It comes back, and I'm happy with the release of the communique from some traditional rulers from Lekki. I'm happy what they did, and they touched the right thing that I'm saying. They came out with a communique. Who did they address to? Did they address to the Minister of Territorial Mission? Did they address to the Procureur? Did they address to any Minister of Communication or whatever? They addressed to the head of state. To the point where they said, if nothing is done, the head of state will take the corpse of Martinez will be buried at Bomeka. They give him the. Why do they do like that? Because they believe that there is somebody somewhere who incarnates all what it takes to bring sanity into the country.
However, the leadership of the Association of the Assembly of Traditional Rulers in the Lekki has said that they did not mandate anybody.
I saw an individual. I saw an individual. I did not. I saw but a single. It's normal. There must always be some individual that will be
distance. Or
no, they are not. It is an individual
from that letter.
No, I have
written. To the head of state.
I read the letter very well. It is an individual who has never bothered to even go to the site. Those traditional rulers took into themselves, went to where the corpse was laid, and carried out some rites, like traditional rites, and came out with that communique. There was the signatories, 4 of them. It's true that they might not represent all, but 4 of them, and it is inclusive. Contrary to the other communicator made a disclaimer where somebody paraded and said that he is a president, and he makes a disclaimer that on the behalf of I, the president. So you realize that there is something went wrong somewhere, and whether there is a disclaimer or not, but the fact is that those individuals also represent some faction in Lekki, and they speak also on the behalf of some people. So if the president is coming, he also does not have the mandate to swallow the opinion of the other traditional rulers.
Right.
So my point is that who did they address to? They knew why they were addressing to the head of state. That you are the one that incarnates the institution. You are the one that knows what has to be done. You are the one that has the last power to carry out and hit hard and things to be upright. If you keep on folding your arms on cases, so many cases of killings, kidnappings in the capital city, in Yaoundé, that is what many people say, in Yaoundé, not even in the suburb, and you have not been able to hit your hand right from the case of, I don't want to give so much allusion to our Anglophone journalists or the Anglophone whatever, because there's already a notion that they have seen them as terrorists. They always condemn terror. Let us put it now to our here in the center. Those of our French people, our French brothers, like the bishop. You saw the way the bishop was assassinated. Everybody expected that, no, from now henceforth, this is what has to be done. You convoked. That's how it's done. I expected that by now the head of state would have convoked an emergency security council meeting with all heads, all colonels, all in emergency. That what is happening? You give me an account. Can you give me, all of you? I need immediate answer, and I prescribe you. I want everything on my table, and I give you people 2 to 24 hours for the suspects to be brought to justice. Is that not what is done everywhere? You convert the emergency security meeting, but what happened? Even a word of condolence, nothing. Almost all cases. And when it happens like that,
but the national gendarmerie, just like the Ministry of Defense, yes, the police force, all of those institutions are reporting to the presidency of the republic.
But Mr. Babila, we are not in a situation where we work on proximity. This is something that is visible. Let the world know that I have taken into account. It's like when the COVID pandemic broke up, almost all leaders, all presidents addressed issue. President Paul Biya was nowhere to be found until some political actors, even myself, I wrote a communique requesting that there's a vacancy, including even the CRM leader, Professor Maurice Kanto, requested for the Constitutional Council to notice a vacancy. That what is happening? Where is the person that is supposed to guarantee our security? That is when, after about 2 days, they said the head of state wants to address. No, we don't operate like that. You are mandated by the people. Now, you have a moral responsibility to guarantee the people that I incarnate this institution and your security is guaranteed. Everybody is living in an atmosphere of fear. When the head of state, everything is just, everybody does what he wants. It suffices for me to have enough money and I just hire some wool-ups and people are living this. I just go take that person and go, because from every indication, if our gendarmes, people can no longer be secured there. The police, it's not as if we don't have good police. No, we have one of the best. We have one of the. But when the institutions and the system, when you meet with some of those there, our security forces, they themselves are like they are weak. They don't know what they have to do.
And besides the condemnation streaming in from across the board, there have been calls for justice. Justice for Martinez Zogo, justice for Samuel Wazizi, justice for all the rest.
That is it.
Now, how to get to this point? You said it is the head of state who has the yam and the knife. What is he supposed to be doing or to do at this point in time?
The head of state was supposed to prescribe an immediate investigation that is made it to be mediatized. He was supposed to convoke an emergency security meeting where all his état-major of the security should be on the table and make it visible. It's not something that is done hidden. And the head of state at least would have come out, even before even convoking, would have come out to give a comforting message, because it is everywhere. People are like, said, well, I know it has happened like this, but I want to guarantee you people that I will leave no stone unturned. Make a speech. It is your moral and it is your constitutional, your moral is an obligation for you to do it. You are not doing a favor. You are being mandated to do that. If you know you are unable, that the security of the country, everybody can do whatever he wants and goes scot-free. The head of state has, when it comes to his own security, when he gets this an information that some individuals are even planning to take over his throne. You see, he doesn't play with that. So he doesn't joke. He gives immediate arrest. He asks for them to be arrested immediately. We have seen high-profile ministers whom we feel they are untouchable. But when the head of state realized that, no, these guys could be touching my own security, my own power, that's where we saw how his muscles come out to prove that he's the head of state. But now when it comes to do with individuals of the country, I see why when he went to US, he was rather asking if there are important people in the hall before he speaks. He's a head of state that works him all on important people. The common man, he doesn't care.
Cameroonians are important people.
No, he doesn't care.
Are important
he's only with important people.
Now, Full Godfred, the head of state, he has the yam and the knife. What should Cameroonians and media men, professionals,
if the guys are not doing their work, take their responsibility
from him at this point in time to give some kind of guarantee or some reassurance? Because generally speaking, there is some fear looming over pressmen in Cameroon when we see such things happening.
No, I can reassure Cameroonians that they should not fear, because the security is there. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk like Mr. DENIS, who was just talking about investigation and security as if security, when they want to talk about investigation, is not done in the market. I think a normal investigation should not be, because say they were to come and declare and publicize on the media what they are doing. When you are looking for somebody, especially a criminal, it is not in a market that you have to come and declare how you are going to track down the criminal. And by so doing, you see that you fragilize the security system. Maybe he is the president of a party, and when he will be the president, I'm very sure that whensoever there will be something like that one, I'm very sure he will do it in the market square. That is where he will show the population that the security is working, so that everybody should know how they manage to investigate or what they do. Because security in a country, if this country was not secure, I'm not sure the two of us or the three of us will be sitting here and talking. But barbaric action like this one happen everywhere in the world. Even in America, where we think that there is security. Even in France, we have places where you cannot even go in a town. Go to South Africa, there are some quarters there that you cannot even enter. So I think when there is something like this one, it permits, I think, the security men to reinforce the way they are doing things. And when we talk about something like that of Martinez Zoko, I think investigation is going on. And we have to know at that level that investigation is going on. And if doing investigation to find a criminal, it will not be published in the market square. Because when they talk about security, it is not, that's somebody who lost their life. And I think that there are many more other people who may be in that same situation. And we don't want those type of things to happen again. That is why we said Cameroon security is, I think, one of the best, as you people just said here, just to confirm what I'm saying. They are one of the best, even in investigation. And I'm very sure that those who did those type of acts will be tracked down, and tracking them down will give a lesson to others who attempt to do such. But the question you asked me was to know what we can do, at least so that those type of acts should not repeat themselves. I think we have to make, that is, you are a journalist, and I think we people work as a corporation. In that corporation, I plead with journalists to denounce those who are not doing their job, those who are there maybe to target on individuals. And for that reason, I think the law is there already to protect the journalists, but they themselves, they have to mind what they say or what they write.
Responsibility. All right. We're going to take some interviews now. When we come back, we'll talk about the peace process in Cameroon and the kind of ping pong that is going on between Cameroon and Canada. Stay with us.
Where we are today is a problem of every Cameroonian citizen. We must remember that we did not get where we are today by accident. We have been moving towards this direction for many years. We have seen illegal arrests and killings. Today is a day we must remember the women of Zelevet, how they were killed. All of us saw it by forces of law. Today when we must remember in the northwest and southwest how many people have been arrested, have been killed, have been tortured. We must remember Wazizi. Where is the body of Wazizi up till today? Because things have been happening and we have not pushed hard enough against this government. It has given them the impression that they can do anything, including torture and murder, and nothing will happen. And this is why today every Cameroonian must stand up, because a line has been crossed which puts you, me, my child, your mother, my sister, my brother, your cousin, every single Cameroonian is in danger. And that is why we must stand up. We must be in black on Wednesday. In Yaoundé, everybody must get up and go to Amplitude FM and follow the directives which are being given. On Friday, we must be in black. We are coming up with more actions. Cameroonians need to stand up, join the action, and make sure that we say to this government, no, 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 and no. This is not acceptable, and it will not happen in our country.
The Committee to Protect Journalists is obviously very concerned about the state of press freedom in Cameroon. Over the years, we have documented a marked deterioration of press freedom, and we certainly saw an uptick in violations at the start of the Anglophone conflict. We've had several journalists in and out of jail, and currently we have 5 journalists who remain in jail, making Cameroon the second worst jailer of journalists in sub-Saharan Africa. The fact that there are 5 journalists in Cameroon, the majority of them dating back to late 2016 and early 2017, also shows that Cameroon is the one country after Eritrea in Africa where journalists are serving the longest in prison. There are other issues, obviously, to be concerned about in terms of press freedom. That relates to the fact that journalists are murdered with impunity. So we have the latest case of Martinez Zogo, who we know has been killed in a terrible, terrible, shocking way. And we call on authorities to ensure that there is no impunity, that his murderers are held to account. It is not as though there are not signs of who may be behind his murder. And so we need to see fast and swift arrests. Unfortunately, the conduct of government when it comes to the investigations of the killing of journalists or journalists who have died in custody, like Samuel Wazizi, is not very good. And so that impunity that we talk about, which does have a chilling effect on other journalists, is obviously something of great concern for the Committee to Protect Journalists.
Thank you for staying with us. Canada says they are ready to mediate in the peace process as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned, but the government of Cameroon says no. DENIS, TABE.
Well, Mr. Babila, this is another issue again where at times I pity my country, but it is our country. But I'm disappointed with some individuals who feel that they have a monopoly to determine the future of others. But notwithstanding, I'm sure we are fighting towards that, to make a country, our country Cameroon, to give it back the value that it deserves, that has been deprived from. A Minister of Communication, Mr. Babila, Canadian Foreign Minister, Canada is not a country where people just do what they wish. A Canadian Foreign Minister came out with a communique to acknowledge the fact that they are happy that the government of Cameroon has opened up, and with the Ambazonia or separatist leaders in Europe. And for
you can drop your
okay now, and then for our own Minister of Communication, after some time the thing has really gone to a point where Pope John Paul, for the Vatican to validate that initiative, for the US to validate such an initiative, for even the international, all international, some credible international organization validate such initiative. Do you think it was for a child's play that they are not aware that the government of Cameroon and Canada has been working on a mediation? Do you think they are not aware? They will just come and for you, a minister, just come and you ridicule the whole thing, claiming that to such an initiative, you have Cameroon has never mandated anybody. To me, it is shameful. It goes a long way to really ridicule the diplomatic force of our country. Canada, I am aware. Let me say, I'm very, very more. I've been following the peace talks. They have had it twice. Representative from Cameroon, validated by the head of state, orchestrated by the prime minister, and they have sent representatives to talk. They have had one in Toronto. The other one in I don't know those names in Canada. They have had talks there. They have had, or maybe another one even in Morocco. I don't know. But they have met twice, and I have had credible information. Even when it started, I got incredible information from those who took part, and they came out and they said the thing is, from the first stage they could not come up with any communique because some conditions were still struggling to put. They went to the second, things were not still very, very favorable, and now the status went now Canada itself. I talked with even the French, the Canadian High Commissioner, the former Canadian High Commissioner who was in Cameroon here. I have visited, we have had diplomatic visits to him, and he has confirmed that things like that are ongoing. And when the foreign minister of Canada came out with a communique to thank the government for the initiative, because after everything, she has been convinced, and the government of Canada has been convinced that two parties now, actually, the talks are really ongoing until there has been some memorandum of understanding between the two. For coming out and letting the world know that truly they are happy that Canada is standing on the mediation. And you, the minister, what do you stand? What do you gain? Anyway, it goes a long way to tell you that when we keep on saying that there are some individuals who are bent on destroying this country, undermining the peace of this country, and the real people who don't want peace to reign in this country, I have every reason not to keep on blaming the separatists. Yes, from the outing of the Minister of Communication tells you that some individuals have taken it to themselves to paralyze every initiative that peace wants to reign. Let me tell you, there have been even talks with Seseko. The one time that the minister of, not the minister, I think director of security in charge of information, I think Maxine Eko, something like that, had some talks with Seseko. What is wrong to talk? Is it a weakness or a strength for a government to sit and talk with its own citizens that they don't agree? What does that a weakness? To me, it's really ridicule. I was shocked when Rene Sadi. Do you mean the Pope, I still repeat, some important personalities will come and back up the mediation talks, I mean the peace talks between Cameroon and the separatist leaders, mediated by Canada, without them having concrete and tangible reasons to give that backing? No, I think we need to be serious. So it's ridicule on the side of the government, and to tell you that the government actually, there are some individuals, I'm not saying everybody, some individuals are bent to ensure that peace or this crisis continues for their personal benefit.
Full GODFRED, what explains the position of government in these peace talks?
I think Mr. Babula will bear with me, even the president of the PAP, Mr. DENIS, that up to today, we have had a lot of progress in the resolution of this crisis, and I want to assure you people that the agenda to resolve completely this crisis is always at the front page of His Excellency President Paul Biya agenda, and we cannot come and say something we are supposed to, a problem we supposed to solve in between us among Cameroonians. We look for somebody outside. For now, since the beginning of this crisis, as up till now, there are many things who have been done. And today, I think you witness with me that in the beginning there were many people who get out of the province, but today they are back. Schools are going on, and as the head of state usually said, the dialogue is still open within Cameroonians.
Why they no
Let
to
me
Canada?
tell you, no.
Why they no to Canada?
Mr. Babila,
Why no
when you have
to the
a
Canadian
problem in
mediation?
your house, immediately you are looking for somebody outside. Meanwhile, you can solve the problem. Don't think when the person is coming, he is coming in for his own interest. And at the end of the day, he may be like, he has something to gain.
So why,
And for now,
so why all the discussions that went on between Cameroonian and Canadian authorities?
No. For now, Cameroon is able to resolve his crisis, and they have been doing. I think a lot have been done. For now, we don't see the reason, as the government rightly say, to call for a mediator to come and mediate what? When the president was in America of recent, he met some Cameroonians who were, we can say, who were lost, who thought the initiative was a good one. But today they have come back to tell you that things are done. They must not publicize what is done. But I want to assure you people, the crisis, the solution, there are solutions that are put in place to see that everything will be fine.
Local
but I'm
solutions.
very sure.
Cameroonian solutions.
And
I mean, solutions at home.
Solutions at home. And those solutions at home are more stronger than solutions that will pick outside. And I just take an example here. You will not have a problem in your home, and you know how you can solve the problem, and you are calling for the neighbor to come and solve.
Well, those
for
solutions,
now,
those home solutions
for
have
now,
been implemented.
For now,
two representatives of Elections Cameroon are killed within a short period of time in the northwest.
You know, in a zone like that one, we talk about an asymmetric crisis where you cannot identify who is doing what, and for that reason, those type of incidents will always occur. If that one is not to say nothing is done, because today, if you look at the population, let's look just at students who were here in the beginning of this crisis. All of them have gone back, which means many things are done to see this crisis cease. But those type of acts, because there are individuals who are there maybe with their bad intention and who will always perpetrate those type of acts. But it does not mean Cameroon does not have means at least to jubilate the crisis, because up till then, I think the head of government, the head of state with the government, they have been doing many things in the field to see that population, those who left their houses, should come back, to see that schools are going on. And today, you bear with me, people are traveling, people are moving there, schools are going on, and people are carrying out their activities. So right. I don't see they need to join the communicate of the Minister of Communication. I don't see the need calling for a mediator. Maybe we said when you have a problem, you may have a solution somewhere else, but they can propose, not like coming in like a mediator.
Right, but the problem is that why would you go and discuss and agree on something, and then you come back to say no, we were not there?
No, who went to agree for something? Because up till now, those are just says.
They're not sayings. They're pictures.
You have a legal document. No, pictures.
They're pictures of Cameroonian.
It is not because
Cameroonian representatives.
It is not because
in discussions.
No.
With Canadian authorities.
Discussion may not only be to invite them to be mediators, and if it's not because.
Are you saying that Canada, the foreign minister of Canada, lied?
But the communication of the minister disproved him.
Right.
I don't want to say he lied.
Let me just add something to what he's saying.
2 seconds.
I think yeah, two seconds. The attitude of Mr. GODFRED, the CPDM representative here, is a reflection of what we are saying today. If he can, with all the proof, there's a picture between the foreign minister of Canada and Jean Belambela, the foreign minister of Cameroon, there from the Canadian website, that these are pictures that we took, thanking the diplomatic ties on the process of peace between, and they are giving proof. You think the foreign minister, do you know before, please.
When
you were speaking, they are giving me 2 seconds, you want to take it away. I've said, do you think, those are some of the things where I said, there is no need for even so-called this investigation, because even all proof come, he will tell you that we are just talking about investigation. Right. So it's a reflection of the Banana Republic. Somebody has all proof. A foreign minister of a country said we are hard talks, and you said it's not credible. They came out with picture. You said they are not credible.
Was written there.
So it is when they will come out with the coverage of those attacking journalists.
So it was written there. Cameroon looking for a mediator.
People are not serious. Stop dancing.
No,
Bafia dance here.
We have come to the end of this edition of The Inside.
People are not sincere at all.
GODFRED, politician, member of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party. Thank you so much for your time. NJANG DENIS TABE, national president of the Popular Action Party. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Goodbye.
Le Tour C, tout le monde a une chance de gagner avec MTN. Tu veux saisir ta chance? Achète un forfait à partir de 250 francs ou fais un moment d'au moins 5000 francs et tente de gagner une villa chaque semaine. Je dis bien, une villa chaque semaine.